another runner in the night, blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night, blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night, in the dark through the months as the adolescent pumps his way to his high, with a boulder on my shoulder, feeling kinda older, riding track, merry-go-round, with his fiery and pleasing, sneezing and wheezing, like a lightning crash to the ground. Now Scott with a slingshot and lightning found a tender spot, a lover in his hand. As he not shot, forget-me-not the daddies within as I take the one-shot turn of the band. Some sound like old sister with the manager mister. Oh, me, I got what it takes. She said, I'll do you once I need to something strong. She got down, but she never got tight. She's gonna make it through the night.
At InsureAPatriot.com, our partners are aligned with your values. While we can't control who the most efficient carrier is for your area, we become the service model that acts as the intermediary with you and the best products in the market. No more waiting on robocalls to be shipped off to a foreign call center.
Good evening, beautiful people. Sean Fife.
I'm actually jumping on with you, Sean. Welcome, everyone. And the reason I'm jumping on, Sean, is because I put in the private chat the YouTube link because Rumble doesn't seem to be working. It looks like.
Oh, that's the one I handed around.
Can you hand around the one in the private chat for YouTube while I try and get the Rumble working?
I can't touch the chat because I've never been able to sign in to Rumble.
No. It's in the private chat here on the thing. There's a thing that says private chat. Just copy that YouTube link and send that out to everybody. Because we're having a Rumble problem, and I'm gonna leave the show to you guys. This is special.
What's up? Can you guys hear me?
We sure can. What's up?
Okay,
Frank?
cool. I believe I'm streaming to Facebook and my YouTube as well. So if you want to shout out to my followers, your Rumble channel and your YouTube, some people might want to check it out, see what he's got going on here in Chosen Kingdom.
Thank you, Frank. I'm gonna please send out to everybody the link here to get you guys hooked up, and I'm gonna go work on my Rumble while you and Sean get the show going to talk about what's going on.
Sounds good.
So how about if you start filling us in, Frank? Where you been? What you doing? Just knock out the kind of a points list of what you're up to down there.
So, reason I'm pointing to this shirt, you can see on the back, maybe. I speak with my feet. This is my gear for Absolute Defiance. And I'm down here at a business conference in West Palm Beach. And what business conference? The Vault Conference. Patrick Bet-David from Valuetainment. Shout out to the VT team. I came down here. I've been to the Vault Conference before, and I've been talking to the team in the meantime, and they suggested we do a gear swap. So I brought a bunch of gear down here to do a swap with the team so they can help me support gear for my channel because you guys know my YouTube is not monetized. And this is my way of trying to get a little bit of support. So I'm down here, soaking it all in. And I'm cooking at the same time. It's literally like these are all day long, nonstop events at the convention center. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing down here.
I just want to feel some shame with you here, just to take a little bit of the heat. Now, it's been, I'm farming. I'm doing the politics. We're running around with a bunch of different hats on, and you don't have time to just do laundry. Like, I need to put that away.
Oh, geez.
Right? That's the clean stuff. I mean, I did 2 months of laundry all at once, and I just haven't put it away. But I mean, you wear 3 things a day for a couple of months. It literally piles up. So, not to turn this into like that, we are here for what we're here for. So, what I'd like to get into on my end is what we did with Karen Testerman today. So,
what happened?
So she brought her case against Chris Ager, our buddy Chris Ager. Right?
Yep.
And so it was kind of neat to see him there with no GOP backing him, just him hanging out in the wind by himself with 2 attorney general attorneys trying to defend his side of this thing.
Hold on. The attorney general was representing him?
2 of their attorneys from the attorney general.
Why? Is he's not part of the hold on.
Questions.
So I'm wondering.
I don't know.
So I'm just saying here, he's part of the GOP, correct? Which is a political party, and
not for much longer if we're lucky.
Right, yeah. But what I'm trying to get at is, what the hell is he getting defended by the state for? Did he pay them?
So here's what happened. He called a meeting of executives for the New Hampshire GOP, right? So the council met, and he convinced them they should hold a vote, and they did, but they didn't follow the rules. Like, they didn't notify everybody by mail 5 days in advance. They just did this on the fly, right? And there's other things that were wrong about it, but essentially they just didn't handle themselves well. So they come up with the answer that he wanted, and they decided not to sue themselves, right? They didn't want to be held accountable for the corruption. So
guess what, guys? Sorry to jump in. Oh no, I thought it was good. It's down. Oh, I'm out again. Go.
That's all right. So as we pull the dream team together here with our little show, what's going on is Chris Ager got everybody to go in, like, strong arm Karen Testerman out of her position as speaker for the Merrimack GOP. And so what had happened is, the month before, they decided that they had a vote with the locals, like the people, the normal, like, Republican people that is in that meeting generally, all voted in great favor to support Karen's lawsuit against the GOP for changing the rules so that anybody can vote in our election, change their thing, and leave, right? But for so many reasons, it's not right, but it's unconstitutional even, because the GOP is created for people to promote, hold signs, make donations. Everybody picks their part, but you promote it, commit something to it. You're putting something into the GOP, where these people who aren't in the GOP just come from any walk of life, sign up on election day, vote in our primary, and then switch their back to whatever it is they want to be, independent, or call it what you want, anything else. So there's 2 tiers here. In our Constitution, like, all men are created equal. And in the GOP bylaws, they're not treating them as equals. So they're breaking the Constitution in our elections, essentially. It violates some rules. It's all lined out in Karen Testerman's case, but essentially this is being brought against Chris Ager because he's the one that orchestrated this.
And so, how is it being represented by the state is what I'm trying to figure out.
Well,
how is he being represented by an AG? 2 AGs.
Maybe that's pro bono. I don't know how this all works. I'm not that politician. I'm not a lawyer guy. I don't know how he got these two attorney general lawyers to be representing him for the GOP when Karen Testament doesn't get him representing her for the GOP. I don't understand why, but it is. We're in federal
All right,
court.
we're going to look into that.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. But considering everything else was going on today, it was a pretty moot point. Fact is, we had him in court with no back from anybody who was, none of his constituents were there. Nobody wants their hands on this. They were everywhere else they could be. Every seat was full for Karen Testerman's side as witnesses. There were not anybody. We promoted this around, said everybody come here on Friday for 11 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. The only people there were witnesses, but so many witnesses that it filled up the seats, right? So it looked like we had a great audience. But what I took from this that I enjoyed the most was I sat directly behind Chris Ager, slightly to his right, so he could kind of see me in the corner of his eye or whatever. But I'm right there behind him. And you only talk so much in court, right? You don't want to be rude. But at the opportunities I had, I was speaking to the people around me about what he did with you and I about not letting us in, not treating us fairly, not creating an opportunity for all of the candidates to be in one place at one time ever in this entire campaign. But mainly what I was pointing out was the corruption, the way they're installing Kelly Ayotte, and that's his baby. So I'm wondering if it's because Kelly Ayotte's his baby and the attorney generals are her baby. Maybe that's some link there. I don't know. But he is getting pretty good treatment from the attorney generals, and the judge really wants to just dismiss this whole case on the idea that there's no standing, but we have standing. And Karen represented herself very well in this because we've had things thrown out so many times over standing. I think we got this thing on lock because she didn't include every single person. It's just specifically her. She leaned on that instead of it affecting everybody. If it was affecting everybody, they'd have to put it on the ballot and say, take your problem to the ballot box. But so she kept it to herself. And then the judge tried removing the witnesses, saying each one should bring their own case. And Karen says, no, these are just witnesses in mine. They could sue him also for their own things, but they are witnesses for my case. And she stuck her course, and it threaded the needle better than any case that I've seen brought against them yet. And so I can't really give you play for the whole deal, but you're not allowed in there with cameras. You're not allowed in there with phones. You're not allowed in there with a video.
Oh, yeah, the federal court, right?
Yeah.
So everybody on my channel knows about the federal court thing. That case, I'll give you guys an update right now. We did do the appeal. We heard the response. And, I'm down here in Florida. I haven't even had a chance to read what the federal government filed for the response. And I can't even file for time to respond because I'm down here. So I have to have Jason Gerhard file something on Monday to try to get some sort of extension of time to respond on our appeal. But I mean, I think it looks really good. They cite one case that is not on point, and because Jason told me a little bit about it, but I haven't had a chance to read anything. So that's the update on that.
Well, while we're talking about cases, I'm just going to hop off here. Just give me a second. I'm going to look this thing up. It's in my email, and I won't. So I don't know if you know about Bear Arms.
Yes, I've interviewed him a bunch on my channel.
Update? Okay, so basically, you're going to want to be at the down in Boston. There's oral arguments, and they're scheduled to be heard at the Mass Supreme Judicial Court on Monday, September 9th, starting at 9 a.m. in courtroom number 1 at 7 Justice Courtroom.
This is for his case?
Yeah, the second floor of the John Adams Courthouse in Boston. So that's where his case is headed currently. So, I mean, next week, Monday, day one, boom. Okay, so elections are the next day, but Monday, New Hampshireites should be in Boston fighting for our rights to have 2A rights,
What
traveling
time
across
is it?
state lines instead of going to jail because you have a pistol in your trunk or something.
Hold on.
Who cares what it
What
is?
time? Hey, what
9,
time is it?
9 a.m.
I'm not getting back till noon. I'll be in Boston at noon.
Well, people who are
So,
watching, if you're watching this and
sure.
you want to see
I'm
a good
just saying
play out,
I just wanted to know in case people are watching on my channel, they want to be there at 9 at, where is it again?
uh, I'll read it one more time. So it is the Supreme Judicial Court, courtroom number 1, 7 Justice Courtroom on the 2nd floor of the John Adams Courthouse in Boston.
And it's in regard to the right to bear arms. So everybody get down there to support him. I know I got a lot of Boston people on this channel, so get down there, please.
So I just wanted to mention that, but also Karen Testerman's case, they got a 14-day push out at the maximum. They have to respond within 14 days. So 14 days or sooner, 2 weeks or less. This thing's going to be moving forward with everybody's response to what had to happen in court. Not to bore you with all that, but there's more coming very soon. The other thing is with the Dan Richards case, like you were at, the one you got kicked out of last Friday.
Yeah, for recording.
That darling right there, I just want to remind everybody that on the 30th, you want to be down there at 5 Court Street in Concord, New Hampshire on the 30th to pick up where we left off on that. It's not going to happen before the primary election, but this should definitely affect the main election. And another thing that Karen's court case today also is trying to push is where these people register to vote in our GOP election, even though we can't actually remove that or change that. What we want to do is, following the rules, we can put a red dot on every ballot that was cast by anybody who changes their vote, their designation back to whatever it is other than Republican Party. So that way, if we do get to do something about this, we can reach back and say, this one definitely wasn't, this one definitely wasn't, this definitely was, by that red dot.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
On the ballot, you're going to have a paper ballot, whether you feed it in a machine or anything you do. Any ballot that comes from a person that changes their party designation back to anything other than Republican when they vote, we should be able to put that red dot on their paper. So if we do get to adjudicate these, if we do win, we can reach back and say, this is what the election results should have been.
I don't get it.
All right, you got
who's saying this?
Joe Republican, and then you got Doe Independent. Joe goes and votes, fine, normal paper. Doe comes in, registers as a Republican for 5 minutes, votes on the Republican primary. We put a red dot on his ballot.
Okay.
They're both counted. That's the way it is right now. They're both counted.
But they're two different people.
They're two people. One is actually a Republican. One's any other party voting in the Republican. You know, they're turning into any other party other than Republican after they vote, right?
Sure.
So that's the rule that Chris Ager brought that Karen is suing him over, right?
Yeah.
And so if we put a red dot on all of these ballots that are from people who change parties right after they vote, and we prove in court that this is not valid, this breaks the
Why is it not? Hold on, I'm going to push back on you here.
Okay, so you have one group of people where you're Republicans and you push for the GOP and you sponsor them and you go knock doors for them, or you don't, anything that you do for them, you're committing, you're putting your efforts into that. You're a group of people that decided we're the GOP. Then you have some other group of people that you're just letting vote in your primary election that doesn't do any of that. They just come in and mess with your election and leave, right? That's
sure.
two different tiers, two different. They're not the same. They're not equal, right?
What do you mean? Why not? Why can't people change their party?
Because one, if you follow the rules, you have to contribute to the GOP in order to be a member. Contribution being time.
Yeah, but you don't have to be a GOP member to register as a Republican.
That's what I'm saying. So when we have the GOP primary and people come and register as a Republican just to vote in the GOP primary and then change back to whatever 5 minutes later and leave the building, those ballots will be marked. So once we prove that this is unconstitutional and against our rules and it's the two standards, then we'll be able to extract those and adjudicate.
I just don't see how it's unconstitutional to change your party.
If you follow the party rules, it's two tiers. The constitutional side of this is one group of people is being treated one way and the other group of people is being treated another way.
What groups of people?
The group of people are the people who are in the GOP who contribute to it, and the other group of people are the people that just change to a Republican name so that they can vote in the GOP primary and then switch their name back, their designation back to independent or whatever it is that they actually are.
People do it all the time. It happens every year.
That they do it all the time, but it doesn't make it right.
What doesn't make it wrong either?
Well, because they're not treated the same, it does. Because
who's not treated the same?
Treated equal. If you're going to be
hold on. Who's not treated the same? I'm trying to follow this, and I'm trying to elucidate this for all the people watching.
Right. In order to be in the GOP, part of that is you have to, contribute. Right.
What do you mean? You have to contribute.
You need to contribute to the cause. You're going
Says
to.
Who?
It's the rule. It's in the GOP rules. If you read the GOP's guidelines on how it's supposed to operate, this is why you're in the GOP. So that's what we do. We contribute to the Republican Party.
So you're saying if somebody doesn't donate or hand out signs or something, then they can't vote?
You're not contributing at all until you come in and just vote and leave. What did you contribute?
Your vote.
That's not.
You don't have to. Why do you have to contribute anything to be a member of this?
Because that is the rules of the GOP.
And I'd have to see it in the bylaws.
Right. Yeah, that's the point. It is in the bylaws. And
that
Karen
you have to contribute.
Karen has that all outlined in her court case.
Okay.
So if you look at the evidence that's been submitted, you'll see exactly where it is, and it's all highlighted. And she's the genius that put this together. And I don't know it off the top of my head. I just saw it today.
Gotcha. I'm just. Right? I'm trying to.
You got to come at this in a way that won't get kicked out for not due process or what. I'm trying to think of the when you have man, I just said it earlier. My head. I've been up too long. That's the bottom.
Don't worry about it.
My head is mush. But
yeah, me too.
Long story short, Karen is trying to get these ballots that aren't cast by GOP members marked with a red dot. So if we can hold them to this rule, then we can remove the votes which affect our GOP primary that were cast by people who are not members. All right. It's not that it can happen, but we're doing the groundwork, or she's doing the groundwork, so that that's an option down the street. Because if you don't mark them, how do you tell them apart?
Well, right. That's why I have the triplicate.
It's in the rules that you can mark them. So why don't we? That's what she's trying to push across the table. Is she's trying to get what we asked for, right? Well, anyways, not to drag it out, I'm all froze up on you there. Your connection has frozen, Frank. I don't know if this is the same for everybody else. But anyway, so I'm Sean Fife.
Let's see. I turned off the Wi-Fi. It's probably what it was.
You're back. You're back, Frank. I got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I see you.
I turned off the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you didn't.
No, I could hear everything. Yeah, no, okay. I heard everything.
Great. So not to get hung up on that, but that's what we've been doing this week is we had court cases for Dan Richards. We've had I went down to the ice cream social down at the Northampton GOP had a ice cream social. They let Chuck Moore speak. Once again, they don't let me speak. Their other speakers don't show up in time. So I say, hey, I'll answer some questions. They ignore me completely and try and him-haw around. Then in the end, when there's some time left over, they say, well, let's do some raffles. And they call off who won the different things, And the thing's supposed to go for another 20 minutes, but they just start tearing down the podium and the mic and everything. They did not want me to speak. But bottom line was I was present again, and they won't let me speak again. And their excuse was I wasn't on the schedule. And so they're still filtering us out. Me, you, whoever. You're not missing much. But at least the people see it happening all over the state, and they understand that they're trying to install people. And so I called them out there on the spot. I said, this is the reason why the people are jumping ship for the GOP like rats off of a sinking boat, because they're installing people right in front of our very eyes. People are turning into independents, or they're turning into constitutionals, or they're turning into anything else. But the GOP is clearly so corrupt that people can't have anything to do with it anymore, and they're moving on. And I'm going
Yeah,
down.
I mean, people are doing that on the Democrat side too. There's the whole walkaway movement.
That's the two parties. They have two installs on both sides each time, and
Yep.
it's like lesser of two evils. And then you put those together, and then, but out of the four candidates that they promote, all four are corrupt, and it's just to create the image of a choice. But they have been selected since day one. Chris Andrews said to my face, he says, we will not support your campaign or anybody else's. We only pick one, and we're going to support one, and we haven't selected them yet, is what he said to me 3 years ago.
They can't until after the primary.
They selected AOT. They already selected her way before now. So it's just been waiting for it to happen. It's not that we're waiting for a primary. They put AOT in position. They only fund AOT. It's not like Chris has power over AOT. Whoever AOT's working for put her there, and she's using him like her little personal, I'm trying to keep it churchy here, but she's using him like a slave, right? To pump money from the GOP into her. And there's not much he can do about it because she's the one that the people that donate money selected for us. And Chris Ager's just handling the money.
Hold on. If they're donating to the GOP chooses where to send that money.
And they use
Correct?
Chris Ager to say they picked Kelly Ayotte. And Kelly Ayotte was long before hired by the people that gave him the money that told him to pick her. All right. So you got.
I'm curious if Chuck Morse received any GOP money.
Chuck Morse does not get it from the GOP, but he does get it from similar donors, different ways, different whatever. I don't know his whole thing, but you do not stay in politics for 20 years and not have your strings. Look at all the signs. This guy's getting ready to retire, and he's spending how much money on a campaign to do what? When if
he's there, he's a straw man. He's there to be a straw man.
Going to Florida. If he says if he loses the primary, he's going to promote Kelly Ayotte and move to Florida. Two different statements.
He should, because it's miserable down here. It's freaking trash. Florida is the worst state in the country. It's worse than California. People drive like goddamn maniacs, and it's 1,000% humidity down here.
Everybody brags about how great Ron DeSantis is. I was down in Key West, Florida, when he shut down Route 1, which is a federal highway, and it's illegal to shut one down. And he quarantined us down there and then redirected all the ships that had COVID to Key West. And we could not leave or anybody could come unless it was emergency services only, and they had a road blockade with police and military. I shit you not, I was there. And so I was in an instant quarantine down the Keys, trapped, as they shipped in all the sick people and let them off board. That's where I was with Ron DeSantis. So everybody thinks he's so great, but you need somebody in control here that doesn't plan on trapping their people and then making them sick with people that they're shipping in from other places. This is stupid. Why would you do that? Yeah, Florida's horrible. All right, they do horrible things to their people.
I mean, all the states did. Let's keep it real. All the states. Oh, there was a couple, right, that didn't do anything, didn't lock down at all. But 90% of them, New Hampshire, the freest state in the country, allegedly, had Tyrant Sununu
I couldn't
locking
tell you
everything
because,
down.
like I said, I was trapped there in a quarantine against my will. Right? So that's how that plays out. I don't know what happened everywhere else, but I know that they did it to at least us. And so in the aftermath of that, I don't trust Florida at all. That's where I said I'm not going back to Florida. And the only time I go there is to visit my children, because they're not allowed in New Hampshire. I got to visit them somewhere. So I'll ship them to Florida. We hang out with them. My mother, their grandmother, has a place there. So we'll hang out with her there. And then I ship them back home and I go home. But that's all I do in Florida. Fix hurricane damage to pay for it while I'm down there is what I do. But this year I'm not doing it, obviously. We're campaigning. My kids are coming to New Hampshire for the first time since 2014.
Excellent.
It's breaking a court order doing it. Yeah, it's not because we fixed it. It's just because we're done letting them do this to us.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, but we got to fix it for everybody, you know? And this would put us parents in jail, right? If the government decided to do something about my kids coming here against the court order, we'd go to jail and my kids would go to a state, wherever, who knows where in this country they would send them, because it's dealing with Alaska, Florida, Colorado, and New Hampshire, and you don't know where they're going to let that dust settle. But they will get $1 million in one of these states for each of my children. And that's all I do know about it. But we got to fix this. They're destroying families. And my kids deserve their parents. And so do all the other kids. They deserve parents, or at least a good parental figure. But so not to get hung up on that, but these are the things that have been happening here over the last week's been really tumultuous with the Dan Richards, the Karen Testermans, with what you've got going on down there, Frank, and everything else. We got the primary on Monday. We got Bear Arms thing going on in Boston. I mean, we're all over the map.
Tell me about it.
We're doing things. And I sent in my paperwork for Kelly Ayotte. I got it stamped by the Secretary of State. Then I brought it down to the Attorney General's, and I did that yesterday. And you said you handed in yours. There was like 5 other people probably that had done it at least.
At least. I'm not sure exactly.
Then you have the link for, you can just go online and supplement this on your, do you want to promote that? Where can you find that link on a regular basis now?
To the copy and paste for the thing to remove Kelly Ayotte from the ballot?
Yes, sir.
You got to go to franknstaples.org and go down to the bottom of the page, look through the official statements. There's like 21 or 22 at this point now. Every day I try to add 1 or 2 if possible. I'm literally like, I have a bunch of irons in the fire that I'm cooking, and putting them out when I get somebody asking me about a certain issue from the website. I said I jump to that draft that I have on whatever issue, whether it's like right now the housing thing. I'm working on my affordable housing thing to put it on the website. It's not out there yet. But I mean, I'm doing all this stuff myself and I got 1,000 things going on. So go to the website, franknstaples.org, check those out, share them, and find the one to remove Kelly Ayotte from the ballot and copy and paste that, follow the instructions. It's pretty simple. And a bunch of people have done it. I don't know if you've had any responses yet, but people have reported back that they've heard responses. They try to say, oh, this is the wrong place. You got to send it here. Well, it was addressed to 3 different, agencies, the AG, the Secretary of State, and the Executive Ethics Committee. And so I'm like, well, can you forward it to them? Don't just tell me, oh, this is the wrong place, or we don't know. So I said, forward it. And they said, yes, we'll forward it. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Maybe we can get her removed. It's probably they're not going to remove her prior to the primary. But if we continue with these, requests and demands for an investigation for her claiming endorsements from official titles, all the way from Governor Sununu to the sheriffs, police associations, newspapers, these are fake endorsements.
Moreover, when she's making false claims about other candidates, making commercials, blasting it all over the radio, the TV, and everywhere else, and has to have them taken down and make apologies. Well, that alone breaks the rules enough to where, you're not, get out of my sandbox, right? I'm not going to tolerate that, not towards me or towards any other candidate. And so that's the reason why I'm signing on for this more than all these crooked endorsements. Like, this corruption is always there, and whoop-de-doo, you could fight that tooth and nail. It won't mount much, but this is where it's actually slander, false claims against other candidates. And
I'm suing her. I am suing her 100%. I haven't filed yet, but that iron is in the fire as well. So she's not going to call me a conspiracy theorist over her record with the YDC.
Are you going to make a civil case? Where are you going to bring this into the court? Are you going to just come down in like the new Botto lower end? Or are you going to try and bring it into the federal courts? Or are you going to superior?
I haven't figured that out yet. Possibly it could be 2 different lawsuits.
I feel like it's almost a must to go to superior, because if you go supreme, it's to do with elections, and it really isn't even supposed to be down in that court.
Right. So I'm working on the lawsuit, where I file it. I really don't want to say where I'm going to file it. I don't want to give them a heads up.
All right. Well, keep us in the loop on that. I appreciate you coming on the show, and I just want to make sure that we cover all the points that you wanted to cover, what you wanted to come on for, because this is from the hip like usual, and I don't have like a points list that we're trying to hit. I just want to give you the opportunity to make the marks, and if you don't mind, what other things would you like to cover tonight?
So we got 100,000 business cards for my campaign. 50,000 of them, so half of them are already out for distribution. And if anyone can help distribute, we have them in Manchester. What?
Where do they pick them up to help distribute? Where can they get some to help?
They have to contact me, and I'll set that up. So you need to text me 603-722-5408. My number is all over the website. Contact me directly, no middlemen, no strings attached. Call me, text me, and we'll coordinate you getting signs or business cards to hand out.
Nice.
Yeah. So I got multiple teams already on it, but we want to get these things out as fast as possible. The more people that help, the less work everybody has to do. And from the math that I've done on the votes in a presidential cycle, right? Because a lot more people show up. and the amount of candidates that are out there, I only need 50, or you for that matter, we need about 50,000 votes to secure the primary and win the primary. That's it. Okay. I don't know how many I have so far, but I would expect at least 5,000 plus, just from my own, my own base. And I think it might be a lot more than that, because a lot of people are afraid to support me publicly. And I've had people call me and say, oh, I'm going to vote for you, but I'm running for this or that. And I'm trying to get Kelly Ayotte voters to vote for me, so I don't want to call her out on all the corruption. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to do it sometime. What's more important, your little run for whatever, or having a general, a wartime leader in the governor's seat?
Not to peck at John. He's not here. I usually don't pick on people when they're not in the room, but that's my. I really like John Kuiper.
Yeah, John Kuiper. If you're going to vote Democrat, vote for John Kuiper. He seems like a stand-up dude.
But I don't think that he's going to do well at if this comes to some level of war, civil war, or any other, just violence in general. I don't think that he's ready for that part of the job.
And I guarantee,
hard calls.
I'm willing to bet money, nothing against him. I like the guy. He's, like I said, he seems like a stand-up dude, but has he ever discussed the state constitution in his platform? Does he know it? Has he read it?
I mean, if you're not a Republican and you want the Constitution, you should be going to Edmond. But, we all come with our luggage. We all have our faults. But, I mean, I view these guys as valid. I don't want to call them adversaries, but it's competition, right? That's real competition, because there's no strings there that I know of. And they'll tell you what they're thinking, what they're planning on, and they actually mean that they're going to do it. So we're used to all these politician installs, but I mean, New Hampshire should be getting ready for maybe a good candidate and really think about these guys. But compare them to us, compare them to you, me, like look across this whole entire spectrum, because there are options. You are not stuck with Kelly, Chuck.
Right. No, listen, now that we're getting closer to the primary, I've been getting a lot more traffic on the website and messages and people asking me my policy positions. And I've not had one person that I've responded to, and I've responded to everybody who reaches out, that says, I'm not going to vote for you. They all say, oh, this is great. Everything that they ask me about, they appreciate my position. Even somebody that reached out to me on my abortion stance, I said, my position probably is not going to make anybody happy. It's very nuanced and very complex, my plan regarding abortion. So
I'd be more worried about your plan on like cloud seeding.
Right. The abortion issue is a corollary issue to me. It's not a key issue. It's not something that I think affects a ton of people. It has to do with people who want to get abortions, and then the religious people that are adamantly against it at any stage. Right.
Well, so you brought it up. I don't want you to be burning yourself with an abortion topic without me throwing myself under the bus. But the where I stand on this abortion thing is, I come at, like you said, with a religious approach. I am a Republican and I am a pro-life. But my belief is that's between you, your family, and God. And the government doesn't belong in that position at all. It's none of their say.
I agree.
And
it's between you and your doctor.
You have to answer to God, not the government. That's my bottom line. So,
yep.
Yes, I feel like every child is, every human that's conceived in America is an American citizen at insemination. So that's where I view it. but there's just places the government doesn't belong. We're big kids. It's time for us to make big kid decisions ourselves and not let the government like run our lives 100%. So I'm not like a libertarian completely, but everybody has a little bit of that heart, right? Somebody said that to me today, and
I hope so.
Right, but that's where I stand on that tough issue to answer for. But it's not what I'm concentrating my energy on. I don't want people changing their DNA, right? That's crimes against humanity in my mind. You're messing with God's design. I'm okay with somebody printing a body part and throwing on an arm that they lost. Good for you. But it's better be your DNA that we're printing for your body, not printing multiple of them and creating new bodies out of them. That's not what I'm into. So we're not into the whole cyborg drone mess. It's New Hampshire naturally in my world. And so it's not that you have to stand there, but that's where I'm at. These are the topics I'm talking about. Like you've got direct energy weapon systems. We're talking about putting up the Iron Curtain with Trump or not. Like we got to do it ourselves if he doesn't. You know, these are issues. Or over taxation. I mean,
affordable housing. Like these are things. There's certain things. Inflation. The abortion thing is what I call a political football. They come up with these issues that get all the media attention, and they want everyone to pick a side, and you're either on the right or the left. There's no in between. They don't want to hear any nuance whatsoever.
When you had mentioned affordable housing, HUD is how you get like this the difference paid between what you can afford and what the landlord's charging for rent at their particular place. So we have a place over here in Belmont, I suppose, and there's about 40 units that are like out of the whole place is about 40 units, and then 14 of them or so are just empty. Why? Because there's a crack that they're not fixing. There's any number of things wrong, a little mold, the smell of cat pee. But the landlord says, oh, you know, it's a high turnover rate and I haven't got the money to just fix these things right off. But HUD keeps paying him or her, them, the full amount of rent. It could be investors or whatever, but whoever owns the building is getting the full amount of rent every month, even if nobody's in there, right? So we're being paid to keep these places empty, and that's how you end up with this housing shortage. So I think if we weed HUD out of New Hampshire and create our own environment where we don't prevent people from living places that are already here, I think that's a good start with the housing crisis. So things like that are kind of my approach. Use the infrastructure we have instead of ignore it and say we need more because you're Kelly Ayotte and you're on the board for Blackstone
Boston Properties,
build a bunch of slums,
and Boston Properties.
But the list goes on.
Right, Caterpillar. I mean, she makes just from Caterpillar alone, sitting on the board of Caterpillar, she gets $299,075 or something per year from that board position. That's more than what she'll make as governor. A lot more.
Out of all the board positions she's on, the one thing that I haven't seen her do is get paid less than, equal to, or less than you would be if you were hired as a governor. It's $144,000 a year, and that is chump change for this girl. She doesn't waste her time on $144,000 a year. She is here to usher in the corruption, and New Hampshire needs to wake up.
Right. So that's not why she's definitely not running for the money. Obviously, she makes like $4 million a year from the board positions, that all the different board positions she's on. And so why we have to ask, why would she be running? Well, maybe it's to keep continuing the cover up of the rape, torture, and brutalization, as Chuck Moore said, of the kids, the children in foster care in New Hampshire.
For FRM?
That as well.
Largest
so she's being called in.
State of New Hampshire and Kelly Ayotte.
She's a pinch hitter, and she was called in to come in and run for Sununu. She is running on behalf of Sununu and the Sununu cabal, which is a part of the quote unquote deep state.
Mm-hmm.
And so they need someone who can further and protect all of those special interests that are involved with this, group of people. That's why she's running.
We had a great circle of people after the court case with Karen Testerman today. We all went out to the Red Blazer and had kind of a little round table meeting. We had a little snack, and to hear everybody talking about just what we're saying here with all their perspectives, that it's an endless web. It's thank heavens. Where did that card? I got to get the card so I can get the.
Yeah, it is an endless web of corruption.
Say this enough, but endless webs. You want to see endless web? You start looking at. Let's see here. Can anybody see that?
Grazingthesurface.com. Grazing with a Z.
Yeah. So I'd go right there and check that out. And that'll give you a good perspective that's well researched with all the paperwork that backs it. There's a nice web. You just click on points that you're interested in, and it pops up everything that's related to it and how it all ties together. There's one that spent 3,000 hours on it, and it's brilliant.
Phenomenal website. Lots and lots, like you said, thousands of hours of research have gone into that website. I know who put that together.
I challenge anybody to find Frank Staples or Sean Fife on that website.
Yeah. Maybe you'll see me getting arrested. There might be an article about the arrests on there. I'm not sure, but
maybe
so much.
But I mean, we might even be on there. I guess I can't imagine what for. Surely,
no, just in like. Not saying that we're a focus of it, but I'm saying that
incidentally,
I could be mentioned in there somewhere over the 9 arrests.
Like when Sununu kicked everybody out, the 9, or right when you got kicked
arrested
out, arrested, right, and charges brought, all that. Well, long story short, yeah, I could see your name brought up for that as a victim.
Right.
Outside of being a victim, I don't think you're going to see us in there.
No, I know you're not going to see me. I mean, they wouldn't be supporting me, if I was part of the cabal.
Well, we're right about the hour mark here, and I just want to keep this effective for people's times. I know everybody else. Everybody I heard from like last week, they're like, I listened for 2 hours straight. I learned a lot. Well, that's great. But I want to keep it inside of people's attention span. They got things to do. I just want to nail some points. If you got anything else that we should bring up before we get too hung up on what we've already done. No,
just
have it or not.
No. Trust me. I need to eat. I got my food over here getting cold, even though it's.
So let's point them in the direction for the next round table. Have we thought about a date for that?
No.
Is it going to be before or after the election?
The primary?
Primary.
Yeah. After, because maybe we can do one on the 9th or the night of the primary on the 10th, possibly. Like I said, I have I have to fly to Dallas and then to Boston, and I'm not getting back. It's like a 12-hour flight.
We got to watch what happened in the primary. We're definitely going to do one after. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We did it on Friday or Saturday.
I'm not sure.
I'm shooting at like the 14th to be a decent date. Then we know what happened. We have the fallout, the aftermath. We tell everybody the plan there forward. If we win, we tell them to plan forward. If we lose, we tell them to plan forward. Just keep them and remind people about these dates like we've been doing. But
on that note, if I lose the primary, I'm running a write-in campaign. So possibly if I get, if people see that he got 20,000 votes in the primary, they might start rethinking the general, right? So I'm going to be running a write-in campaign, write in Frank Staples. We might upset this thing and unseat Kelly Ayotte from the ballot, and that would be ideal.
In a perfect world, that would happen, and Chuck would lose his lawsuit. And
right, I'm not counting on that though. I'm counting
on it, but wouldn't that just be perfect?
It'd be great, but I'm a realist, and most likely I lose the primary because we got too many people thinking I don't have the name recognition. I know you're the better candidate, but I'm going to vote for Chuck Morse because I want to pick between the lesser of two evils instead of standing on principle.
I really put there really is that ace up your sleeve that everybody's going to go in on Tuesday. They're going to look at the ballots, and there's going to be all these names, and they're going to go, not Chuck, not Kelly, eeny, miny.
That's what I'm hearing from people that reach out to me, whether it's Facebook, the website X, shooting me a text, calling me. Sometimes people call me because my number's right there. And they're like, well, I'm trying to figure out who I'm voting for. And there's a lot of people doing that. And so they find me on Ballotpedia, they find me on all different things, and then it brings them to my platform, and then they want to find out more. And so people are investigating. People are a lot smarter than these sheep, these bandwagon jumpers that want to follow the crowd. Okay, most of the people in New Hampshire are independents, and they vote. They have to pick one or the other side because there is no way to vote as an independent. There's not an independent slate, right? So they're forced to register as a.
They're on the main ballot. There's just no primary.
Who?
Independents don't have a primary.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But they'll be on the ballot, like for the main election.
If they got the fucking
2,000 signatures, or depending
the
on
signatures,
3,000 for what position, 2,000 for another, depending on what you run for.
For the petitions, right? If they got enough petitions, but I have a friend that my friend Griselli. What's up, Griselli? She was trying to run as an independent in Manchester for a local position. And, she was sitting out there at Market Basket trying to gather these signatures. And both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats, they're like, oh, no, I'm not voting for anybody that's not one of my feathers. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, no, I'm voting blue all the way up and down the ticket. I'm voting red all the way up and down the ticket. Such an ignorant take. And they won't even in signing the petition to get her on the ballot. They won't do it because they're afraid it's going to take away from their side. So both sides.
What's happening there is when these people are jumping ship and they're joining Constitutional Party or running as an independent. All these people that are left in their wake are still standing there at the GOP going, oh, no, we don't want them in because they know, right? They've already left because they saw enough. They've just had enough. And so they moved on. Sure, it puts them in a less effective position, but it's for that reason. So these people in the GOP are afraid of a lot of them, in my opinion, or concerned about that. So they want you to run up and down the ticket on the Republican side to make sure none of these ones that already saw it and left don't get in. That's part of it, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'm a conspiracy theorist. I mean, that's my thing. I'm pushing.
No, I mean, people are they're group thinkers. They're herd. They're members of the herd. Quite, a lot of them, but there's a lot there's the factions of the left and the right, and then the majority of people, 70%, don't even come out to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 15% of the population on one wing of the vulture.
They come out to complain after.
50% on the other wing, or 15% on each side of the wings of the vulture that are deciding these elections because people are so fed up with the BS from both parties because they're both corrupt. And it doesn't matter. I'm of the mind that it doesn't really matter if Trump or Kamala gets elected because I'm going to criticize Trump because I don't pander. I voted for him. I'll vote for him again. But he also instituted the lockdowns. He could have said something and stopped it. He did warp speed. Okay? He's a gun grabber. He instigated red flag laws. So Trump is not Jesus. Okay? I know that people want to say, oh, Trump, Jesus. He's worse. And it's mostly Christians who are worshiping this man as a false idol. I know people hate me when I talk negatively or critically about Trump. But you need to think critically because not thinking critically is how we got to the position we're in right now. And I mean, you look at Trump's policies and what he says the same stuff I say. Sue the pharmaceutical industry for the COVID stuff. Tent cities for the homeless people. That's the cheapest solution, you know? And what else? Oh, he'll get arrested over the Constitution any day of the week. Well, I say that all the time. I've been saying it for years. Not only have I been saying it, I speak with my feet. I show and I prove. I show and I prove and I do it. I don't just talk about stuff. I do stuff and then I talk about it afterwards because that's how the superior individual conducts himself.
One of my favorite things about you is you are a man of action.
You really 100%.
Yep. You say you're going to do something, you've already started doing it usually, I notice.
100%.
So that is super valuable. I mean, if you ever do get in any seat, you're going to be moving forward before you even hit the ground. I can appreciate that about you. And I suppose people won't underestimate that much longer. I mean, it's you're getting quite a reputation. And so I appreciate all the work that you put into what we've signed this week and what we've handed in. I didn't do it. I agreed with it. I signed it. I brought it in, had it stamped and handed it, whatever. But honestly, you did the research. You wrote it down. It was on point. So much so, other candidates are on board. I mean, that speaks volumes. I don't see that happening from any other candidate in the race in the country.
How many of these candidates do you think write their own stuff?
None of them. Me.
None of them. Me. You. I do.
John
I've been a writer.
John, he has somebody working on his campaign. He claims he has somebody. He has a campaign manager. So some of his stuff not. But yeah, me it's 100%. You it's 100%. We're out there. These people exist, but we're stretched out. I mean, imagine if you did have help. Imagine if you did have people working under you, following your direction towards a goal that you're pushing towards. I mean, I feel like you have the skill set, and I feel like you have the drive, your age, your life experience. You are one of the greatest candidates. I do keep bringing you forward because you're one of the ones that are worth bringing forward. I
appreciate that, brother.
I'm not just trying to kiss your butt because I expect you to beat me.
No.
but truthfully, to everybody out there, if you don't, I know you have your followers listening and everything, but if you don't already follow Frank, you should at least look into him, or you're not making an educated decision when you go into the ballot box. So do your due diligence, figure out where he stands on the topics that matter to you, because I'm willing to bet he's on the right side of most of these, if you're even a Republican at all.
Even if you're a Democrat, look at my policies on the website.
There are Democrats voting in our, like I said, but hopefully Karen gets them to put a red dot on them. At least something. Jeez, we got to get ahead of this. But we can't have open elections for our primary. It's brainless. especially when there's more Democrats than there are Republicans at times. All right, like they could win your election before you even go to the election. It's not sensible to let your opponents decide your best interests.
Sure. And I mean, I have a paper that I'm working on about getting rid of the two-party system because it violates Part 2, Article 83 of the state constitution against monopolies. And both of these parties are acting as monopolies. And why do we need parties? What is it? Parties? Our forefathers said that the faction, right? These different factions is the death of liberty.
Exactly right. So I kind of agree with you. If I was going to have an election, all this primary stuff and all this other stuff, I wouldn't do it. Everybody walk up to the ballot box and you vote for somebody and you walk away. One man, one vote, one day, done.
Yeah. Well,
that's my idea of a good election. But they do these for all these different reasons. They're trying to control it off into whatever direction. But I feel like that would be the most honest way to have an election.
How about this? Are you familiar with ranked choice voting?
No.
So ranked choice voting works like there's 6 of us on the Republican ticket, right? So let's say you're going to vote, you vote in order of preference. So you'd say this is my number 1, this is my number 2, and you can bounce back and forth from the Republican to the Democrat side.
Yeah.
And you can vote and
tabulate that all up and they find out who got the most points in the end. That I understand that. I wouldn't have known that's what you called it, but I understand that.
Yep, it's very simple. It's just math. You say, I vote for this person, number 1, so they get the most amount of points. If there's 6 people, then they would get like 6 points, I guess, the first place, and then the last place would get 1 point. However it would be done, but it would be much more democratic to do it like that because, and I know there's a side, the Democrats and the Republicans hate each other. Republicans don't want to hear the word democratic, but we live in a constitutional republic. We have a democratic system of governance. So it is a republic, but we also have a democratic system. So people need to get off the one side or the other thing. And like we said earlier, think critically about what's going on in this state. Because I don't care about the rest of the country. Each state needs to fend for themselves. Okay? I'm worried about New Hampshire and the territory here that we have and how we can reclaim it. And then once we have that settled, once we clean our house, then, I'll be worried about California. I don't care if California falls off the face of the earth, for that matter.
Well,
let that slide into the ocean like the Tool song.
I love Tool.
Yeah. Tool's awesome.
But yeah, they're ahead of their time, I think.
Yes.
Anyways, I can understand your perspective, but gosh, I hope it doesn't turn a every man for themselves situation for the states. But when we're getting cut off by New York, they're quarantined by group. Like if you're associated with a group, then they can put you in quarantine and there's no process of getting out. So you could be a group of truckers, right? Or you could be a military group. You could be any group and they just come to your door. There's no test. They just stick you in there because you're a member of the group. And that's how the quarantine system works in New York now. It's totally messed up. Shouldn't be legal, unconstitutional. And but there it is. So we could get choked off from our supply chain just because New York decides to play. And who knows what it would take to trigger that. And it could be intentionally, or it could just be they're playing it safe. Like you're saying, New York doesn't care about any other state. We're in it for ourselves, and they just shut us off from all our trucking because they don't want to worry about the contamination crossing their state lines, right? For instance.
Well, then we'll go to New York and we'll eat your food.
Well, I'm just saying.
FAFO. Okay, New Hampshire don't play. People, we're the number one. We're the first constitution.
I don't feel like we should have to go there and do that, though. What I feel like is we should be prepared for them to do that to us, and for us to not rely on any external supply. So that's what I want to work towards is independence, sustainability, and so much so that you export just because of shelf life or whatever, right? But you make more than you need, and so other people need you because you're supplying to them whatever it is we need. They need to, right? But that's my main goal, is to make us completely self-sufficient, and that way, if any of these crazy scenarios, I mean, we can dream up a million scenarios, but if one of them happens, at least our pants aren't down, right?
Right. Well,
right. And that's security, and that's what you're trying to do is from the gubernatorial position, is to make sure the people are safe.
So we have, obviously, air is number one. Once you get choked, and they're trying to choke us out with all these different things, so to speak, right?
Cloud seeding, day one, executive. I know you're my executive order man. I don't know if you'd make more the first day or if I'd make more the first day, but that was number one. Well, number one is, I don't know. No electronic tabulation machine in the elections. Cloud seeding. Weather modification.
So yeah, that stuff will be dead. All that weather modification stuff will be dead in the water when I get elected.
Like
through proclamation, executive order, whatever I got to do, that is going to be dead. But what I was getting at is air is the number one thing you need. You're not going to live long without air. Number two is water. You're only going to live a couple days without water. And at that point, you're going to start going like crazy and delusional and barely even being able to function. Then you need food security. And then we need energy independence as well. So these are the things that we need to secure for the state of New Hampshire. And then we can be worried about everything else, in my opinion. And, you know, we're blessed to live here in this beautiful state, which has the mountains. And like I said, all the water. We have so much water in this state. It's ridiculous. So we can go quite a long time living in the mountains here. How do you think we defeated the British and threw off the crown?
Water.
Resources, mountains, all that, guerrilla tactics. You know, hopefully it doesn't have to come to that, but we're ready here in New Hampshire. We got the most machine guns per capita.
It even came down to like natural disasters. I mean, they had tornadoes popping up in the middle of the battlefield and just strange things happening. I mean, when we beat the British, some odd stuff was just going down, and I really feel like it was God's will. It wasn't one man beat another, but it was just our Creator, right? The greater power, whatever you want to call it, I feel like had a play in that.
I call it cause and effect for me.
Right. So, yeah, divine intervention, I guess, would be the name of it for me, is because my thing is I was atheist. I grew up atheist. You can convince me that there was God or anything. I just seen too many things where I could just say that we're past chance. There's design. And so that's what I mean. By divine intervention is things are headed in a certain direction, and we can tip the scales one way or another. It's human nature. We have that liberty. We have our freedom of choice as man, right? And so whichever way we tip the scales, it might affect the outcome for each of us different, but we're heading in the same direction. And I'm interested to see where that is. But I'm ready for Chuck Morris to grow a pair.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't need to be like Trump brass. They don't have to be that stainless steel clanking pair that Trump has, going over to a little rocket boy and telling them that, we're going to have a talk, or going to Putin and we're going to have a talk, and jing, ling, ping, who, to every nation in the country that you don't go to, Trump went to and talked mano a mano with these people. So you got to communicate, and you got to make deals, and you got to find out what's, you got to be in an environment like that. And it takes it takes some real nerve, some ganas, pick your word for it. But Chuck does not have it. When he won't debate you, me, or anybody else in our campaign, in the GOP, other than Kelly Ayotte.
Listen, Kelly Ayotte has bigger balls than Chuck Morse. You can quote me on that.
Well, just for fun, I've been saying Chuck Morse's politics is kind of like the boy in the girls' room. He's saying boys don't belong in the girls' room. Well, the only one he'll fight's the girl.
Right,
exactly. He's like Chuck Morse is in women's wrestling or something. He's over there fighting the girl.
No, he's a spineless coward.
And losing, I might add. He's not really representing us very well as men. But gosh, I wish he'd grow a pair and take on a few questions, let people know where he stands compared to us, so that they could understand whether he is better or not. But if you don't have the gall to even represent yourself in an environment where it's a level playing field against an opponent, you don't belong in the office.
Or without stealing stuff from other people's campaigns. You're not going to go and take my shine that I've been building for 2 years, which is why I'm running the whole YDC investigation, which is going to bankrupt this state, right? You're not going to steal my shine and then take credit for it and call out Ayotte, and then you're going to say you're going to endorse her when she wins the primary? So that's, people really need to think.
He didn't say endorse. He said support.
Support.
I don't want
same thing.
I don't want to put words in his mouth.
He's going to endorse her. He's going to endorse her for some sort of, commissioner position or this or that. He's going to get his little benefit. Got to get my battery. He's going to get his little benefits, 100%. I have no doubt in my mind that's what he thinks. He might get totally. Well, look, he thought he was going to get endorsed by Sununu, and Sununu burnt him. So whatever they're selling Morse, as for dreams, is not gonna. It's not gonna go down like that. So Chuck Morse, if he was smart, he would endorse me before the primary, and then maybe I'd give him a cabinet position, because I would. I think even though he's spineless, he still has a use case, and he still has, a little bit of wherewithal and experience in this field. So he could be a useful individual to have around.
I understand where you're coming from, but you got to remember, he said if he loses, he's moving to Florida. He won't be here to do that.
That's what he says, but he says a lot of things. These politicians will say anything. They'll say anything to get elected or to placate their people. So I don't pay no mind until it happens. That's why I got this. I speak with my feet. You know what I mean? I don't talk about things until it's already been done. And if I do talk about something beforehand, you better believe I'm going to do it. I've proven it time and time again. Nobody has done the things that I've done on my, which you guys see on my non-monetized YouTube channel. How many people have got arrested and defended themselves as many times as I have in the ways that I have? None. Nobody
I've never seen
in the fucking world.
As much as you. But I'm getting kicked out of
It's insane. I get kicked out of places for breathing.
I don't know what it is, but something about you, people just want to kick you out for over nothing. Oh, brainless stuff. It blows my mind. But yeah, you have a knack.
They wait for the opportunity to go, we were like, get out, you're being disrespectful, or this or whatever. Like me being kicked out of the Dan Richard here, you saw me go up to him at Red Blazer and say, hey man, I'm sorry that I caused a little bit of and I didn't cause
okay
it
with it.
but
he was glad you were trying to
he was fine with it.
Yeah.
And I got this lady on my governor page saying, oh, you messed everything up. You took time away from Dan. I said, you know something? The only people that poo-pooed what I did were Chuck Moore's supporters.
Bootlickers.
The majority of the room said, he's right. He's right. And even Dan said that I'm right. So don't tell me that I messed anything up for Dan for sticking up for myself and sticking up for my rights and taking a stand. It's not going to happen. And I didn't even do anything.
When Regina Barnes yelled out, "You've got my vote," that's the part out of everything. Yeah, people are supporting you on your way out the door, but there was nothing right about it. That's
you better believe it. And I got more support than Morse. I got way more support than Morse.
The thing with that is that girl still has not sent me a copy of that video. I mean, she's the only one allowed to record or take pictures. She did both. And I still can't get a copy. Like, it blows my mind. In the middle of a campaign, you can't even get a copy of this footage. Well, anyway,
I might be cutting in and out here.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not the end of the world, but I think we covered a pretty good bit. You got to save a little bit of something for the next round. But if you want to do a show, I'll try to get you set up with one if you got some topic that you want to get out here in the near future. But let's shoot for the 14th speculatively. Like, let's just say the 14th probably we'll do this roundtable thing. Because I know we told them on the show last Sunday we'd do it, and it'd be post primary. But if you got something you want to bring up sooner, by all means, let's get it out to them. And other than that, I mean, for me, I'm pretty well spent for the night.
Oh man, I'm beat.
Right, we're human. We're human.
Right.
It's been a long couple of months, an extremely long week. But today, I think what wore me out was the excitement of watching Chris Ager's face turn beet red, like it was going to pop, because I was sitting behind him saying exactly what he's been doing. And he turned around after the court case was over and he says, I'm right here. I can hear you. I said, well, is anything I said not true? And so he moved on his merry little way, upset with his face all red. And then they wouldn't let him out of the room. Like, one girl's like blocking the door, not letting him by, and like throwing more questions at him. He went in the back room and he was throwing his hands around and had all the body language go. But you missed quite a performance today. So honestly, with all that I'm doing,
yeah, I wanted to be there.
It was exhausting enjoying that so much. Like, I wore myself out just being happy with ourselves. But it was kind of like a celebration day. We all went out. It was a good time. You didn't miss a whole bunch, but what you did miss was, like, we've come a long way just to get, like, at least the reaction. And I think he sees the writings on the wall, and he's having a hard time finding his way out of this wet paper bag. And I think it's almost over for Chris. And
well, he made his bed.
It would be dreamy if we could do the AYOT, but I see Chris going down the river. And I think that's one of the best things that could happen to the GOP right now, is to clean out some of these links and the corruption between the money and the candidates, and work towards a level playing field. That way these people aren't all pointed in a direction blindly. That defeats the whole purpose of having a GOP. We're supposed to be informing each other, supporting each other, and working together towards a cause, and that's not what's happening. We're creating that image, and then they're using us to sell their baby. So today, we were able to take a whack at that baby's pinata. And Chris Figures beat Redface, man. I'm gonna be dreaming about it all night.
Nice. I wish I was there because I know there's no video. I would have I would have got arrested again in the lobby.
Way before that ever happened. You'd have been gone.
I would have been arrested again in the lobby for sure. Trying to get in there to record. I
have no doubt. Yeah. I have no doubt. But thank you so much for coming on and keeping us informed, Frank. And enjoy your swag. Rock it. Looks like you're hanging out with the right people, doing the right things. Can't wait till
I got some good friends, man, and I don't like to tell people what I'm up to and what I'm doing when it comes to stuff like this. It's kind of private, and until it happens, you know, that's how I roll. Like afterwards, once this thing goes through, hopefully we'll see how many people come out to support me. Buy yourself a t-shirt. I got a bunch of these FAFO shirts, all different colors and designs. They got, you know, oh, this one doesn't have anything on the sleeves, but other ones do. And I got embroidered hoodies and hats. So if you want to support me, not for my governor campaign, but for everything else that I do with Absolute Defiance, this is the best way to support me, is to go buy yourself a bumper sticker, buy yourself a hoodie, buy yourself a hat, buy yourself a t-shirt, buy one for your boyfriend, your husband, your girlfriend. Buy one for your girlfriend too, because your girlfriend is going to steal this hoodie from you. I guarantee it. It's going to be, you know how that works.
I think that it should say Frank around and find out. I mean,
put around.
I understand what it stands for, and I love that message, but I just like Frank around and find out, because I mean, you could rock that. But anyhow, thank you again. Yeah, like I said, I don't take donations, but if you want to support good candidates, Frank's a great person. Throw some money his way if you find that. Do you have a GoFundMe or anything?
So here's the thing with that, right? I have a business bank account with the EIN and all that for my campaign, and I went through WinRed and so I got approved. I got everything set up. I got my bank account information in there. I got the donation page going and all that. And I took it off the website because I got a few donations, and a few days later, they're messaging me and they're like, "Oh, you need to re-enter your bank account information." And so I did, and it didn't do anything. And so they're like, "Oh, well." It seems like, I don't know if they are pulling my chain and they just don't want me to get the donations, but I tried to do what, I mean, I did what they said. I re-entered all my bank account information and everything. It's the same stuff. They're like, "Oh, we don't know." And I said, "You know what? Just refund all the money." And they were like, "Oh, you have to do it manually." So I haven't had time to do that, but anybody who did donate, expect to see a refund on your donations. It's fine. I put all my own money into this campaign. I put $5,000 into this campaign, plus all the time and all the energy, and I don't care. It's not about getting donations and all that. Plus, it's, you know, I don't have to report anything until it's over 10,000 in expenditures, and I'm not even going to come close to that. And I'd rather not. It'll save me the hassle of having to do any of that. And I really don't want your money. I want your fucking vote. You vote for me because I speak with my feet and I get the job done. That's it. It's very simple.
Well, good message, Frank.
Thanks, brother.
But I can relate to the WinRed. I went through all that. I got signed up on the thing. I had a donation come through, a $20 donation somebody sent. I know it works because somebody did that. They didn't get the message. I tell people I don't take money, but somebody sent some. So I know it works. If you get it set up, it should work. And
yeah, it's not working for me. I don't know why.
Sorry to hear that.
It's not a big deal.
People say GoFundMe is just way to go. But it's an easy thing to do, and you don't have to go through all the background checks for the political everything. But
right, people told me, people that have run before and everything.
Bank account? Do you have a bank account? Like, do you have a bank
yes
you're with? What bank? I
have three. I have 4 bank accounts, but I have 3 at Citizens.
So
and
if
I
you go
have
to
my
Citizens Bank, they're everywhere. If you go to Citizens Bank, say, I want to make a deposit for Frank Staples.
No, don't do that. I don't want anything. So just vote for me, share my stuff from the website. But I have my Humble House business account, and then I have the Frank Niga Staples for Governor business account, and then I have my personal account at Citizens. And that was a big rigmarole that I had to go through to get all that done. And then for some reason, the stuff's not working through WinRed. Why? Why? Because they don't want me to get ahead. Probably.
The other thing, if you want to support Frank, just make a sign for the man. Go out, knock doors for the man.
Get some business cards. Like I said, we still got another 50,000 to get out there, and we only need 50,000 to defeat AOT. So help me get these business cards out. Hit me up, 603-722-5408. Shoot me a text, give me a call, and we'll get you connected with some of these business cards. I'm not going to be back till the 9th. I'll be spending all day on the 9th handing out cards, as much time as I can get in, and early during the day, all day on the 10th. I'll be wherever I am passing out cards, and that's what's going to win this thing. Word of mouth and believing in, the system. I hate to say it, but you gotta, like I said, with 70% of the people don't even vote. If that 70% came out, I guarantee all of them would vote for me, because they're sick of the bullshit from all the other people. That's why they don't come out to vote, because there's nobody that they would vote for that has their interests in mind. I was born and raised in New Hampshire. I'm not going anywhere. I've had people try to get me to go to California, Florida, other states as well, because New England and New Hampshire is rough. The winters are rough. The people are rough, but I love it.
That reminded me of a moment at lunch today. One of the people at the table had ordered some onion rings. Oh, everybody wants some onion rings. Just take them off my plate. We always share, they say. Just take some. We do this all the time. Try and make very light of it, but trying to share some onion rings. And I said, you know what? If you don't eat off of other people's, if you don't share a plate, if you're not willing to share a plate, you're not a Yankee.
That's right.
Right. we share French fries. We share things off a plate. You go some places, they don't even do that. But anyhow, nice Yankee character shining through, just being, sharing, and sharing's caring. So share Frank's cards, get them out there. Support him any way you can. You want to support him, go do it. I can't expect him to do everything himself. He's one man, and he's obviously already doing a lot. So thank you for all you do, Frank. Thanks for coming on tonight. And everybody can look forward to and maybe another episode of Roundtable on the 14th, as long as I don't mess that up. Try and get that up there for you. And just keep an ear out. Chosen Kingdom. Just do random searches here and there. An episode will pop up either on YouTube or Rumble. All the platforms give us trouble, but new episodes coming out all the time, and get good information about good people doing good things, or bad information about bad people doing bad things. Either way, it's honest. There's no bias, and I don't know any other platform on earth that is giving anybody the opportunity to get out their words live, unedited, uncut. This is really where you get solid information right from the horse's mouth. And Frank, I don't mean that you're a horse, but this is.
I am. I'm a Sagittarius, actually.
Okay.
Half man, half horse.
What are the chances? So
Hey.
here we are, though. That's what this platform's about. Mark put this together. No money's being made here. This is just about getting messages to people where normally the messages are blocked, or you don't have we're trying to create opportunity for people to get their messages. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I look forward to doing more with you, Frank. Wherever we go in the future, I'm sure we're going together. So thank you very much. And thank you, Frank people out there in Frank people land. Look forward to helping you guys connect some more in the future. But God bless.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. And then you too, Sean. Have a good night, brother. I'll see you when I get back.
Thank you very much. We'll see you then.
All right. I'm going to do this. So. I don't even know how to stop this thing. Okay.